The Beast Show, I strive to be as positive and happy and yet stay truthful at the same time. And truth is something that, well, at least I value. So there comes a time where I have to become realistic and realize that the world isn't always happy and isn't always cheerful, and that there are going to be things out there that I genuinely do not like. So, as time goes on, these negative feelings build up, and it's not healthy to hang on to it. So everyone needs to vent about stuff every once in a while. So this video is for the purpose of that. Hey, what's going on, geeks? Maxusthebeast is here, and welcome back to a different video. Tonight we're going to be ranting. I'm going to be venting or ranting about a few things that I don't really appreciate, and just gonna get some things off my chest because I think that's the humane thing to do right now, because I've been pent up with all this random stuff for quite a while now. So without further delay, let's get into it. So first and foremost, let's talk about the elephant in the room and talk about Fortnite. Now, I know most of you, if not all of you, know what Fortnite is, so I'm not going to take the time to explain that. I, as you may know, started out really liking Fortnite. It was, for a while, one of my personal favorite games. I was having a lot of fun playing it. I had a lot of friends who played it. We would squad up a lot. It was a really enjoyable experience. The game was fun, new, exciting. But then, as time progressed, it became cringeworthy. It became very, very cringeworthy very fast. And Epic started adding in updates that didn't interest me, that I believed were taking the Fortnite community down, that was harming the game, and I decided to just leave the game be, only stopping by occasionally to play with a couple friends, and a lot of the time it's ironic. Just meant to be a joke, like, hey, let's play Fortnite and laugh at how broken this game is. Or how... The big thing right now goes down to building, where it's less of your skill as far as shooting goes. Because with games like PUBG, right, it's a third-person and first-person shooter, where if you've played games like Battlefield for years and years and years, and you've trained up your aim, right, those aiming skills will cross over to PUBG. But Fortnite is exclusively third-person, and instead of using spray patterns that are predictable like PUBG or CSGO, Fortnite's spray patterns are absolutely all over the place and are not predictable in the slightest. They've tried to change around things like first shot accuracy and tap shooting, but the balance changes have really screwed with that. And if you play games like, let's say, Call of Duty or Battlefield or CSGO, and you've been playing these games for years and years and years, and then you play Fortnite, unless you're using a scoped weapon, your aiming skills more than likely aren't going to transfer as well. And again, maybe that's just my experience, because, I've been playing FPS games like Overwatch, CSGO, and Battlefield and stuff for years. And when I jumped onto Fortnite, I didn't feel like those kind of skills transferred at all. But a big part that really changes up the dynamic of it is, even if the shooting was actually decent, like I said, your skill isn't always about your shooting. It's not a shooter. I don't consider Fortnite a shooter, because the big thing right now, what really makes you considered as a skilled player, is how fast you can build the Empire State Building in any given time you get shot at, because that's how you play the game. And instead of using skill and outwitting your opponent by, shooting at them, and I know some of you might be saying, well, Max, I might not like Fortnite either, but I will say that building makes it bit more skill-based rather than just shooting at somebody, because shooting at somebody isn't very tactical. To which I say, well, you're kind of wrong there, because you've been playing games like CS:GO and Call of Duty for years, right? And shooting has always been the main way to solve your problems. You didn't have building in Call of Duty. I mean, imagine playing Modern Warfare 3 here, and just suddenly you get shot at, so you instantly throw up a wall in front of you. No. Instead, we find cover, and then we base our engagement around that. And I think games like CS:GO really encapsulate that feeling really well, making you have to find cover and use that cover to advantage. But don't stay in one place too long, because someone is going to outwit you. And in games like CS:GO, you can see an opponent's barrel sticking out from behind cover if they turn a different direction. Meaning, if someone's paying attention and you're just sitting there close to behind a wall or something, and the barrel of your gun's sticking out, they'll know you're there if they're paying attention. Or there's some cases where it's like a 1v1 and players will kind of just like a ring around the rosy thing trying to kill one another. But CS:GO also features penetrable walls. So if you shoot at a wall, certain surfaces will allow bullets to go through, meaning that you're not entirely safe if you get behind a wall. So if someone's camping behind a wooden door, and let's say you're an AWPer watching mid on Dust, or Dust 2, and you notice an opponent, you're on T side, you notice CT go across mid, and then hide around the corner of the door. If you have an idea where they are, you can shoot at wherever you think they are on that door, and if you're lucky, you'll hit them. Now, if it's a headshot, you one-shot kill them, but I think even with an AWP behind doors, it's still slightly reduced. Maybe like you'll do 50 damage rather than a full-on 100. But still. But you get what I'm saying? You can still make a skill-based tactical game with simply shooting as your main alternative, your main source of, let's say, power here. It's not as stale or boring as it might sound. But Fortnite's really lost my interest. I'm no longer having fun with it. Like I said, I play it as a joke now. That's really all it's good for, is a good laugh every now and then. And I mean, I mentioned this back in my video about early access hell, but the big thing that really gets me about Fortnite is that it's just going to be permanently stuck in early access, not getting anywhere, not developing. Because they don't have to. Epic doesn't have to. They've made millions of dollars off of cosmetic items. It's gotten to the point where they don't even need to finish the game. It can just stay in early access forever. It's obnoxious. It's sad. And honestly, it's kind of depressing how a free-to-play game that's making most of its money off of microtransactions and will never be finished is doing better than games that are so much better, like Insurgency. Call of Duty is kind of mad now. Insurgency, though, CS:GO, Overwatch, and a whole host of other FPS games, and it's beaten now Apex Legends, which I thought was gonna be the Fortnite killer. I was wrong, but of all things, Minecraft seems to be the thing that's killing Fortnite. So, at long last, it seems that Fortnite has met its match, which is absolutely beautiful. Anyway, moving on from Fortnite, because I can ramble about that for hours, but I don't want this video to be solely based on Fortnite. Moving on, let's talk about something that has been kind of controversial in communities, like various fandoms. Let's talk about shipping. And I know not everyone may be familiar with the term, so I'll go ahead and elaborate on this. Shipping is when you pair fictitious, or in some cases real, characters or people romantically. And either write stories, some people write stories, or just really passionate about a couple they think would be nice together. And for the most part, it's all in good fun. Occasionally, a ship will become canon and everyone freaks out over it, for better or for worse. But occasionally, there's a time where shipping ruins a community, where it destroys a fan base and causes more problems than it's worth. And that situation happened with Voltron Legendary Defender, which is an animated series on Netflix, which would be considered a mech anime. I believe it's Western animation, but it's based off of, anime. Its art design is anime. And it's a unique series. I never really got entirely into it. There's some things that irk me about it. I've never been really into the idea of giant mechs. I was never a big Power Rangers fan as a kid. I mean, I liked Power Rangers, but I wasn't like, oh my gosh, it's Power Rangers. I must buy all this merchandise and I must watch every single episode that they ever release, type thing. I was kind of a neutral fan when it came to Power Rangers, but I was never really a big fan of mech anime. I don't really watch much anime, but when I do, it's mostly stuff like Fairy Tail, right? I like that kind of thing. I like the action-adventure type of anime when I rarely do. I was never really into mech, but I can understand that some people do, and all power to you if you like something I don't. And again, maybe you just haven't been exposed to the right stuff. Because I don't think Power Rangers really counts as an anime. But I am as I've established in the past, I am a massive Star Wars fan and a massive sci-fi fan. And Voltron is based around the premise of being in space and, space warfare, ship battles, and stuff like that. And there's pretty much like a universal thing in most sci-fi shows or games that an ion cannon is meant to neutralize electricity. It's an EMP. When you get hit by an EMP blast, your ship will lose power, and you won't be able to do anything, or you lose abilities, that type of thing. Like, a good example would be in the show Star Wars, The Clone Wars. First few episodes has the Malevolence arc, which is a super weapon that has a giant ion cannon, which its big threat to the Republic fleets is that it can disable their frigates, making their fleets vulnerable to counterattack. It was a good arc. It was a good beginning arc for the series, but I'm just tangents galore. But instead of doing what pretty much, like I said, pretty much everything else is doing with ion cannons being an EMP, Voltron made it a Death Star, making it an ion cannon capable of destroying a planet. Cool. But honestly, that's not really the big controversy with Voltron, because not many people really were really too into the whole ion cannon thing, like I was. But the big controversy, kind of linking back to what I was talking about a few minutes ago, was shipping. Right? The big ship that everybody wanted to become canon, that was getting so much traction, it was almost ridiculous. It was almost funny. Was Clance. And everybody wanted Clance to become canon. The amount of fan fictions and comics and all sorts of things written and drawn about Clance was honestly astonishing. Because, I can see the fun in ships. I've never really been too into it, though, because I'm like, what's the point of pairing two fictitious characters? They're not real, so why do I care if they get together? I mean, there have been times in the past where I'm like, okay, that's kind of, I sort of like that or whatever. But really, I could care less. I'm kind of neutral about the whole thing. I just don't really see the point all the time pairing characters in books or comics or movies, TV shows, anime, video games, etc. Because I prefer to, in things like video games, play the game rather than speculate who's gonna date who. But I'm getting off tangent again, off topic again. The big thing with Voltron was the Clant ship was spreading like wildfire. Everyone wanted to become canon. Everyone thought it was going to be hashtag Avengers Endgame. I mean, just canon Endgame for the series, where that these two characters were going to get together, and that was going to be how the series ended, with these two characters together. But it didn't happen, because even though several times in the series there was like some bromance stuff going on between the characters, guys, let's just get this out of the way. Just because two characters are friends doesn't mean that they're going to start dating, okay? Just because they have friend moments doesn't mean that they're the perfect couple, okay? Let's just get that out of the way, because I know there's plenty of people out there who were reasoning that the reason that these two characters should have gotten together is because of the fact that they were friends, okay? Let's just cover that real quick. But the big thing was the ship didn't happen. No matter how many friend moments these characters had together, it didn't happen. And a ship that had been pretty much generally despised by the community, yet had been hinted at, and almost to the point where it's being shoved down your throat entirely. Pairing to these two characters, it's been around since basically episode 1. But like I said, nobody really liked it. That became canon, and oh me, for lack of a better term, all heck broke loose. And it was a nightmare, just the amount of flame wars and backlash towards the creators of the show, and even to the actors, which is freaking ridiculous, because they're actors. They didn't write this stuff. They're being paid to voice the characters, okay? Chill out, people. That's the thing. They're voice actors. They didn't write the show. They just voiced the characters, okay? So don't blame the voice actors for your ship not becoming canon. But the amount of death threats and the amount of just negative comments sent towards the creators of the show, creators of the content based around the ship that actually did become canon. Well, it's just astonishing how far people will go over something that they think should become canon. And although as a Star Wars fan, I disown The Last Jedi, I'm sort of in the boat of I want to separate myself from this as much as possible. I do not want this to continue type thing. I don't think I've gotten to the point where I've just outright ditched the show over a ship. Over something like that. Or over just pretty much anything. There's like the occasional something where I'm just like, you know what, I'm not really into this anymore. With shows like, for a while I was actually a big fan of Star vs. the Forces of Evil. It recently ended, and once again it crammed a ship down our throat, even though it was hinted at since day one. Saw it coming from like 2 light years away, but still wasn't entirely happy about it. But whatever, the show's unimportant. But for a while I kind of was just like kind of in and out with it because I didn't really care that much about it. The show didn't really interest me entirely. It had its moments, but just generally wasn't really that interested. Came back recently just to finish it up. And I'm mostly kind of neutral about it. But I didn't leave because of the ship. I left watching the show because I just got bored of it. Over time, kind of grew out of it. You know, stuff happens, life happens. That's how the Force works. But that's the tragedy of Voltron, if you were ever interested in that. Next thing I'm going to be talking about is Instagram. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not outwardly opposed or do not really hate Instagram. When in fact, I use it constantly, right? I'm not addicted to it, but it's fun to kind of lose track of time and browse Instagram for a bit, you know? But the one thing I really don't like is becoming more and more evident as of recent is Reddit thieves. Where, Reddit being a big platform with a bunch of people sharing ideas, sharing funny pictures, memes, and just random stuff they find online or in real life. It's a fun it's a fun website. Honestly, Reddit's become like my new home for a bit. But the big thing is that Instagram, a lot of meme accounts, a lot of inspirational accounts will steal memes and steal pictures and stuff from Reddit and not credit the original Reddit users. Occasionally you have the rare person who still practices chivalry and will credit whoever did what. And it's nice to see that those few still remain. Just sorry that it's, like I said, so few. But moving on from that, I just see so many. I browse Reddit a lot now. But then occasionally I'll go on to Instagram and I'll see the exact darn thing that I just saw on Reddit reposted on Instagram with no credit to the original Reddit user. Which is really sad because somebody it's usually memes, and it's usually memes that have been that are really well edited, have had a lot of work put into them, because the original uploader is probably like, this is gonna make somebody smile, it's gonna make somebody laugh, other than the 5 million Area 51 memes. Please stop that, it's not funny anymore. It was funny like the first 2 weeks of it, but now it's just getting old. With that aside, it's disappointing to see a meme that somebody's worked so hard on, just thinking that, this is gonna make somebody happy, right? Just to have it stolen from them, posted on Instagram, and gets more likes on Instagram than it does upvotes on Reddit. It's depressing to know that someone could put a lot of work into something and then just get it stolen, and the stolen post gets more positive attention than the original. And I know that happens a lot more than just on Reddit and just on Instagram. I know that happens on things like YouTube and DeviantArt and stuff like that all the time. Art thieves and video thieves are very much a thing. And it's a sprawling epidemic. But it just really irks me when I see stolen memes. Especially when it starts hurting the subreddits that they originally came from. For a while, r/prequel memes was in the gutter because so many thieves stealing the prequel memes and posting it on prequel meme related Instagram pages without originally linking to the person who posted it, or at least saying found on prequel memes on Reddit. And eventually it was a very quick revival for prequel memes. So albeit the suffering didn't last too long, they now have 1 million subreddit subscribers, which is absolutely amazing. Congrats to prequel memes for its rapid growth and astonishing success. But I'm sure there's been plenty of other subreddits who have been hurt by Instagram thieves or Facebook thieves or other social media thieves. And while I don't really hate Instagram I don't blame Instagram itself for it, because it's really just the people doing it. I don't respect meme accounts who steal. Stolen memes are not fun. Especially when they're original memes made by somebody and then you just repost it somewhere without giving credit to it. I mean, if you just reposted it and gave credit just for the sake of spreading the meme out because you thought it was funny or using the same meme format or whatever, all power to you. It's all in good fun there. But if you don't give credit where credit is due and claim it as your own, that's a scummy practice. It's pretty much plagiarism, yet I don't think anybody really gets punished for plagiarizing Reddit or posting stuff like that on Instagram. Because you're only like, what are you gonna report it for? Like, really, the only thing that would sort of fit this description would be like Instagram reporting spam, because it's not abuse, it's not anything supporting anything illegal, it's not porn or anything. So I mean, what can you do? I just wish that the Reddit thieves would die down and just leave the Redditors alone. So, yeah. And there's that. Whew. Another thing that's really gotten me kind of upset recently is just, like, spend any amount of time reading, just back to Reddit, spend any amount of time browsing Reddit, you're bound to come across some anti-vaxxers. The anti-vax movement is really, really starting to get on my nerves. Because the little amount of research these people do, is astonishing. It's honestly amazing how little time these people spend on researching things. They claim that they've done a lot of research on the evils of vaccination. One of the funniest things I've seen was a college student had posted a question on, I believe it was either Quora or Yahoo Answers, reposted on reposted on Reddit so people can see it. And no, it's not even that. It's not. You're not stealing by reposting a random Yahoo answer thing, because that's the point of Reddit. You find stuff elsewhere and you post it. And if it's copyrighted or if it's owned by somebody, give credit where credit is due. Anyway, where it said, I am trying to write a paper for one of my professors, and I'm trying to find articles related to the anti-vax movement, but I haven't been able to find any credible sources. Can you guys please link me to a respectable news outlet or website that supports anti-vax? And one of the comments to that was, well, maybe if you don't find any reasonable or logical sources, maybe that means you need to reevaluate your viewpoint. Which is 100% true. Guys, if you believe in something and then you want to prove it, but you can't find one solid piece of evidence that it ever happened, or that it's ever been credible to begin with, it's time you start thinking that maybe this isn't real, or it doesn't work. Okay? Vaccines are good. They're going to help you. They're going to prevent freaking smallpox from killing us all, okay? It's an endangerment to society at this point, where they brought back measles, mumps, and a whole host of other things. And polio is starting to see a resurgence, so next up, smallpox. And the anti-vaxxers are going to start using their daffodil oils and vegetable creams. No, that's not actually what they use, but they do use random oils and stuff, because they're all natural and they don't have AIDS in them, or autism or whatever. Guys, if you give your 6-year-old a vaccine, he's not going to be autistic, because autism isn't given by vaccines, or it isn't contractable after birth. It's a birth defect. Not saying that people with autism still can't live normal lives. You still see plenty of people living successful lives despite mental conditions. Just gotta say that, so nobody's like, you're insulting autistic people. No, I'm not. I'm just saying what medicine has proved. Okay? Okay. And I do genuinely believe that you can live an ordinary life with various conditions, because it's been proven time and time again. There's been people with Asperger's syndrome, autism, and a whole host of other things that still have lived successful and extraordinary lives. Just getting that out of the way. Anyway, so the anti-vax movement is worrying me about how far people are going to take it, how far it's going to go, and how many ancient diseases we're going to bring back. The Black Death is going to return. We're going to need to start bringing out our plague doctor masks, because that's going to be all that's going to save us. Oh, and some essential oils. Can't forget that. Now then, our final little thing for tonight is going to be just something completely different, something just completely off topic out of everything we've been discussing thus far. One thing I strongly dislike, which everyone should at this point, trade scammers. I've made several videos talking about how scummy trade scamming is and how you should be wary about trade scammers on things like Steam or whatever else. And just be healthily be cautious, but don't get too cautious, okay? Don't go berserk. Don't be paranoid. Right? Don't get too paranoid about people. But I'm getting sick and tired of trade scammers. It's getting to the point where I see somebody adding me as a friend on Steam, and I'm just pretty much running them through the ringer as to make sure that they're reasonable people and aren't going to try to scam me out of a Steam inventory item that has some sort of monetary value, because that's honestly just all I've seen, and I've grown to expect it. But I don't know how much more I can really say about that. It's scummy, it's stupid, and like I said in that video I made back in April, stay aware, stay vigilant, and do not let people get the best of you. But also don't be entirely paranoid about everything that happens. Okay? Okay. Anyway, guys, I just needed to get some stuff off my chest. I know I sounded a bit more serious, maybe even sarcastic, and just kind of a bit more aggressive than usual. But I just needed to vent for a little bit. Just need to get some of this stuff off my chest. Okay? Just been building up for weeks and weeks, and just need to just release it. Just get all this stuff out of my system, and maybe you guys can relate. Anyway, guys, thanks again for watching this video, and as always, Maxusthebeast is out.